Hey guys, it's Alexander Williamson, and tonight is the Christmas wish list. Oh, and that's my wife's appearance for the night. Tonight is the Christmas wish list episode. I wanted to go through. I'd love to get your folks' opinion on what you would like for a list of. Maybe for the sake of people joining in the chat, maybe we'll do like three fish that each of you guys would love to have. If money wasn't an option, and if you had the tank set up, what are the three fish you'd want? So I ended up making a list of 10 because it's my show, right? So, but no. Other than that, we've got a couple other things lined up for tonight. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to all the viewers, to subscribers, and wish you guys a Merry Christmas to you and yours. If you're not a Christian, or if you're agnostic like me, I'm agnostic. I'll just throw it out there. I love eggnog, um, and the tree and all, but eggnog stick is how I'd consider myself on Christmas. Um, but yeah, so there's the Christmas tree that needs to be in the background, right? Yeah, so there it is. I want to feed some fish for you guys. But first, we'll feed the fish. And then I'm gonna flip this camera around in a minute because I have a Christmas miracle for you guys. And I know it takes a while for people to filter in, but we're gonna start with some feedings and some updates. And then I'm gonna look at a mop and a stingray, a shark, and a lobster. That would be an interesting mix to have in a tank, especially if the lobster, is a deep water, saltwater fish. The shark, I mean, you could have a bull shark, and then you could have freshwater, whatever, probably, honestly. But we'll get into that a little later. So right now, I've got a mix here. Let me flip this around. I've got, mud skippers, pea puffers, and African dwarf frogs. That's a good list. Loaves and fishes. Redacted XX, Betsy Cummins, Jeff Griffin, Mr. D's Tank, some more. Let's see, Keith Borderly, fake name, what's up? Just saying hi to y'all. Biggies, how's it going? Welcome. So right here, this is bloodworms, this is white worms, this is vinegar eels, baby brine shrimp, not live though, and then some vegetarian mix. And this is basically something for everyone in my tanks. And I always feed it like this, where I put a big old cloud of the Daphnia and light stuff on top, and then I'll use a skewer to get the heavier worms to sink down to the bottom. And then I also have like a vegetarian meal plan for some of the tanks. But this tank has a lot of big boy fish that like to eat worms and so forth. So do all my catfish tanks. But yeah, there's a lot of plecos and stuff like that. So they like the white worms and so forth. Now, I have to say, it's been an awesome year. Now, there's also a fish in timeout that I'll have to tell you guys about. He's getting coal for Christmas, but I'll give him some bloodworms. You hear that? You're getting coal. He'll probably still eat the bloodworms happily. So I need to make enough of these bloodworms make it past the crazy beasts at the top of the water. So I use the skewer to kind of sink some down. And what I wanted to show y'all is that my poulcher, my Pelvichromis poulcher, and his wife, who's hiding back there. And I say wife because they've mated, I don't know, half a dozen times. And what I wanted to show you guys is the Christmas miracle of their babies. So he's been hanging out with the babies. If you guys know anything about cribs, you guys will probably know that the female is the lure. So she's bright and colorful, right? You see how bright she is? So she's bright and colorful. And if anybody attacks their den where they have their babies, which is right in here, they actually, she'll make a run for it and she'll flash her colors. Now the male's losing his colors, but he's been attacked savagely by his own son, and this is from the last batch, and I couldn't catch him until recently. And finally I caught him, and so he's going to another tank, but he ripped on that upper fin of his father really hard, and I'll probably have to treat him now also for like some sort of infection. But basically, he nipped right on the scales really hard there. But the mother went out and allowed her actual back of her tail to get ripped by this male up here, who is her son also, in order to save their little babies. And hopefully, I'm hoping they're going to bring the babies out to get some food. Yep, there they are. So this is a Christmas treat for you guys. Here are all the little baby cribs. You see how many there are? And they're not like, so I was doing some observing of them because I've had lots of different types of cribs now. And I was curious as to, look at all the babies. I was curious as to why they hang out with the dad more than the mom. And yes, it turns out that the mother keeps her bright mating colors, and she is willing to run out and be bait if anybody is lurking and causing problems, even if they just get too close. Then the father, they actually hold on to the father's body. And so you'll see them from time to time, like actually suctioning themselves onto his fins, and they'll hang on to him, and he'll block the entrance to the cave with them on the backside. And it's really kind of touching to watch. I mean, I know that fish probably don't have emotions like we do or anything like that at all, but it is cool that this particular species of crib is willing to die for their babies and their mate. And I mean, they'll put it out there every day, every chance that you see, even if like a little tetra or something comes in and tries to mess with the babies, she is awake 24/7, and oftentimes they will die caring for a brood that's, so their first few spawns, a lot of times they fail and they don't have too many that survive. Sometimes they actually, when they're really young, they may even eat their own young. If they think it's not going to work, essentially, they'll eat their own young to get their protein back. Whereas as they get older, they'll go out and about. Maple Street Aquatics, hello. They'll go out and about and they'll get food and things like that. But sometimes they won't bring their babies along, and therefore the babies starve to death. So it's like this fine line of they have to parade those little babies out and about. And you can see she's doing a perimeter check over and over again around this cave that I've built for them. Let me zoom back out. And I'll tell you if the babies come back into focus. We'll hang out here for one more sec, just because I love watching the babies and the parents interact. But they'll take them out and into public, quote unquote. Here's the male who's coloring up a little bit more just because he's eating. When he gets excited, he'll color up. But the babies are kind of interesting. Also, we have somebody out and about who's usually not, and that is my little Corey that's in here. And he's the last Corey that's in here. I moved all the other ones and didn't know he was here until 2 months later. Also in this tank, I figured it bears mentioning, since we're talking about little miracles, is that we've got all my Danios in this tank are ready to have a huge batch of eggs. You can see these females are just like footballs. You know, it's just really crazy. They're so ready to give birth. When I put them in a tank downstairs, I've got the leopard ones, and then I've also got the flame ones. And then also the plecos are all doing great in here. You guys remember that I had a pleco die off. Look at how pregnant she is. She probably has, I don't know, 200, 300 eggs in her. It's nuts. But she doesn't feel safe enough with all these fish to lay them. And she could get egg, she could get egg, what do they call it? Egg, I'm totally blanking on the word, but when they get too many eggs in them and it doesn't work out, and they get stuck. So I'll have to put her in a spot where she feels comfortable enough to have eggs soon. But I just think that it's cute. The egg bound, thank you. Geez, why couldn't I think of that word? So I'm going to pour a little bit more food back into this corner for them. I'm going to move this troublemaker. He needs to go downstairs somewhere. And don't get me wrong, he will be treated well and everything. It's not his fault that he's a monster. But I'm gonna let some of these bloodworms. I'll just distract more up here too. But let's see if we can get those babies to make one more appearance for those of y'all who just trickled in. They're really cool to watch. If you haven't ever kept cribs, I mean cichlids in general, but cribs are really nice because they're dwarf cichlids. They're about the most colorful, fish you could get in that size in fresh water, I would venture to say. I mean, they come in every color. This female happens to be, I believe she's a Maliwe, and he's a Poulcher, which is, yes, I know that is a sin in the fish world to mix two locales, but they were both down. Bob, what's going on? So we got Bob and Betsy in here. It is truly a season of giving love and miracles. Kids! Oh, kids, I'm so happy to see ya. So yeah, but there's the male, a little bit battle torn as you can see. I'm gonna set him aside as soon as he's done. I don't want to take him from his babies yet because he's doing an awesome job this round taking care of all those babies. And they will oftentimes get sick after having a successful brood of babies because they've literally sacrificed all their life force, their energy to take care of the babies. So the babies are right around that crack, that crevice, and you can actually see them slightly right here, but the dad's not letting them come out around the corner right this second. And they are there though. I can see them poking their head through every few seconds. So the mom and dad have to both guard either entrance of the cave and then decide it's safe and decide that there's food for the babies. So here comes the mom. As I said, she patrols the outside and she stays bright after spawning so that she can be a fishing lure for any possible attackers. And then the father stays with the babies and really takes care of the babies until they are independent. And sometimes they'll actually stay as a family unit for like months. So it just depends on how much space is in the tank and things like that. Also, here's one of my green dragon survivors. This guy was a little baby, and yeah, you can tell my green dragons usually because I've got a mutation that always has cream tips on their fins. So, well, I'm gonna say that I don't want to keep you guys waiting forever, but the babies made an appearance at the beginning. So if you want to see all the brand new babies born just a few days ago, they still have their yolk sac bellies, which is really cute. You can watch the beginning of this footage. The dad is probably hanging out somewhere around here. He needs to get nourishment too. Yep, there's the dad. and he needs to get nourishment because he's awake 24/7 with those babies. Also, you can see, as I've said twice now, he's got those wounds, and I want to treat him, but it stresses him out more, I've learned in the past, taking him away from his babies than it would to treat those. Here's another one of the Plecos doing pretty well right now from the green dragon litter. So I'm kind of hoping that out of the 3 Plecos that now are about 2.5, 3 inches long each, that I will have some short short fin green dragons still around. Also, everybody loves a puffer, right? So I figure I'll show the little puffers. You can see his belly's already full. I probably should have filmed him earlier. Look at that belly. Oh, so they have the best eyes of the fish in the tank. And I want to do like an entire puffer tank, like of pea puffers, not of any other big puffer. It's too much of a commitment. I fear commitment. But yeah, there's the male. Now compare him to the beginning of this video. He is so colored up, and this camera is not even, it doesn't do any justice to his colors, but you can see that. I'm wondering if we can see the babies if we zoom in here, because they're in this cave and the parents are guiding it. So that's what's going on in this tank. I'm going to get to my list of fish probably midway through the cast, but we need to feed some more fish, visit some other tanks, chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. If you guys have something on your mind, let me know. But yeah, I will be treating the father probably in a week or two, unless I see a real change, like fungi growing on him or something. They're kind of in a rough tank with the pea puffers and the leopard danios. I mean, I kind of was keeping them here as just a place to put them, and I didn't ever think that they would team up, especially since one's a tinnitus and one's a poultry. I didn't think that they would team up to have babies, but they do, and the babies are really cute. They have a lot of blue on them, and then of course, when 2 cribs pair up, they make a very Christmassy color of a dark crimson or purple. Looks like this is going to be a female just by the body shape on this one. So that's exciting. Also, I got some new crinum. Oh, yes. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. What do you think is a good breeding fish that can make a few bucks? Okay, so that's a really loaded question. Honestly, this tank has a good selection of them. So we'll stay here for a sec. A good breeding fish. Well, not quite a fish, but these guys. Tried and true. Just red cherry shrimp. They're good. And endlers or guppies. Get yourself a good strain. These are wild ones, actually. And wild are Jeff Griffin. Wild strains are a great choice. If you can get some black bar endlers that are from the wild, that are N class, I believe. There's K, N. I might have that mixed up, but that are wild class. All right, take care, fake name. Take it easy, man. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. And Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. So I would say that endlers are easy. They're a little bit different than guppies, but you take care of them identically. I mean, and you don't need to do anything to make them breed. Really, you just keep their water quality happy, and they just make a ton of babies. And we'll go downstairs and I'll show you my breeding for profit tanks, because they're also my line breeding tanks. So I would highly recommend breeding fig from a thistle. Merry Jesusmas from the UK. All right, man. Merry Christ's Church, Christ Mass. Also, happy holidays. Kwanzaa. No one celebrates Kwanzaa. I'm sorry. I don't know a single person who celebrates Kwanzaa out of all my friends, and I've got quite a few that if you'd think someone would, they would. Um, and for my Jewish family, happy Hanukkah. That's a little late this year. All right, so if you want to see the babies, we're done waiting. They'll be in another. They'll be at the beginning of the video if you wanted to watch all the adorable babies. That was just perfect timing that they came out. That was a Christmas miracle. So let's move on to feed this tank, and we've got all pretty much other than the we've got a couple oddballs in here that are from other places, but we've got Panda Loaches, all stuff from the Shan region of Myanmar. And so in here we've got the Panda Loaches, which everybody loves. Yes, they're adorable. Pandagaras, super adorable. These are called Mara or Phoenix Rasboras, these beautiful red ones. Mind you, you can probably tell by looking at that rotala that it is washed out, and these guys are like blood red, like fuchsia blood red, and have like a really cool blue spot in them. And yeah, I would definitely say that I got some of my favorite fish for Christmas already, and it's because of the channel. It's because of encouragement of you guys saying I want to see that raised, and you know, that kind of thing, that it's happened, or that I've been put in contact with somebody who can make it happen. The pandas all have their adult markings pretty much now. So I will be attempting to breed them soon downstairs in a very low pH environment. We're talking like 4.0 pH. And then Malawi shrimp are doing amazing. We've had 4 clutches recently, so I have seriously like 50 to 100 in here right now of the Malawi shrimp. You can see them all. They're just, and they grow so fast, and they eat a lot of algae. Also in here that you guys may not have seen are the Coulee Loaches, and they clearly came in and they ate every single morsel of worm that was in here. So I'm gonna put some more worms in, and we'll see if we can get a little sneak peek on that, and then we're gonna head downstairs in a minute here into the fish layer. But I wanted to thank you guys for making this first year on YouTube really special, and I really appreciate all your help, especially from Betsy and Bob, for just being there, you know, as moderators, as friends. Yeah, I couldn't ask for better people to have gotten involved. Look at all these clear little Malawi shrimp. Oh, there we saw. Here comes a Coulee Loach. And if anybody knows Coulee Loaches, they're actually like yellowish and black, and they don't look like that here. They're so washed out because of the YouTube filter setting. Maybe this angle they'll be less washed out. But you can see they're coming. They can smell the bloodworms, and that is their favorite food. And they look like little dogs or like, I don't know, horses or something. Their faces are really weird. They don't look like your typical fish, and they kind of move. I mean, they move crazy like little, like a snake or an eel. And the other funny thing about this is I don't know why. I mean, Merry Christmas, shrimp, if you think you can eat that, but there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that those shrimp are going to eat an entire bloodworm on their own. So, good luck, crazy. Oh, so we have a Coulee Loach. Do you see it shaking it? It thinks it's alive. So it's shaking it as if it needs to kill it and break its neck. Look at that go. Wow. So, yeah, you guys are just getting all sorts of treats tonight, getting to see the tanks being active, getting to see the dynamic things that I like. And, you know, when I'm talking about fish on my channel or my tanks, I try to espouse that people keep fish that make sense for them, but also that makes sense for each tank. So in here, obviously these albino ancestris, these L144s, they can't they can't get they can't stay in here. They're going to get way too big. There's also two leopard frog and plecos in here, and they're going to get way too big. The Pandagar is going to get too big. But I have tanks downstairs for them that work out just fine. And so that will be okay. I have thought through. But I wanted to show people that this is and right here what I'm doing is I've taken a bunch of water with vinegar eels, and in here in this dropper there was clear tank water at the top, and they all come up to try to get a breath. And watch what happens when we try to feed these little microfish with the vinegar eels. They should go crazy. So they'll start noticing them in a sec here, and they'll go nuts. But in here, we have over 20 species of fish in a 17-gallon tank with nitrites staying somewhere in the 10 to 20 range. So we've got the purple tetras, also known as blue tetras. They're another one that's not from this region of Shan, but most of the fish are. So then we've got Panda Loaches from southern China, the north region of Shan, Pandagaras, both extremely new to the fish trade. And Pandagaras only live in 3 streams, so I highly recommend if you get them that you try to breed them. Plus they're $30 a pop usually, so if you get them, try to breed them. In here also there's some fish that are worth breeding. The shrimp also, Malawa, Malawa, or Malawa shrimp are a great choice for, they're basically a mono shrimp that can reproduce in fresh water. Also, we've got erythromicrons. See the little striped fish up there? We've got the blue and green rasboras. These are the blue ones that you see here with the blue, duh. And then we've also got Samfong rasboras, which you can't see the beauty of probably, but they're the ones with the black stripe down their side and then the gold. And they turn all sorts of different colors, and it's really cool looking. But everybody in this tank, there isn't a single group of fish that has the ability to harm any other fish at this size. And that is a way to really ensure your tank's doing well. Also, if you haven't seen it before tonight, I've got the CO2 still going, which I usually turn off before live streams. But you can see where a fish or something broke a capillary or a stem on one of the plants, and it's purling at a crazy rate. And that's because the CO2 contains carbon. That carbon, the CO2 is carbon and oxygen. The carbon gets stripped away, and carbon is the building block of life, and so it gets used. Think of it as like little Legos. And so it uses the Legos, and then the oxygen doesn't really do it any good. So it just takes the oxygen and says, forget about it. We'll deal with the oxygen later. But look at all these Malawa shrimp, doing great. I'll definitely be selling these soon and possibly giving some away. The pandas, I really hope that I can get them to breed. Also, there's Celestial Pearl Danios in this tank. There are the Murrah rasboras, Pandagaras, the Nearite snails. There's also an Autosynclus who wasn't doing well in another tank, so I put him in here. But I love these. I'm going to try to breed. Oh, yeah, and then we've got the new edition, which they only live in Lake Inle, which is in Myanmar in the Shan region. And hopefully you guys can kind of see the charm of those fish. You see how some of them look bluish silver and some of them look gold and bronze with that black stripe. They really turn colors, and so they go great with like Bucephalandra, and those are those Somfong Rasboras. And then here we have a female right here that was smaller than the rest of the group that's downstairs. We have a female orange rummy nose Rasbora, and she's just doing great. She's bulking up here with her little friends, and then we've got some barred striped loaches in here too. But I think that's enough of this tank. We're gonna head downstairs. Let me grab my computer. Also, here comes another Coulee Loach sneaking up on the scene. There you go. That's a good picture of, well, he doesn't want his picture shown apparently, but there's more. Where there's one in your tank, there's more. And this is general advice for any of these kinds of little loaches. Get lots. If you can afford it, or if you can breed them, look how well they hide. Like, that's one fish, and he's 3 inches long, but he hides wrapped up around a reed so that I only notice his head. And then he also kicks up a bunch of dirt if he needs to make an escape. So I have 7 of these guys in here. It's interesting also how they breathe in any soil or dirt, and then they push it out just like that after they filtered out plankton and algae, all that stuff. So they're just a really fun fish. Hey Oddball, how's it going? Merry Fishmas to you also. We're gonna let me grab my notes for downstairs, because we got to get to my Christmas list of the fish I want for Christmas next year, that I'll be hopefully getting a hold of in the next year. So let's grab my, I'm using a computer for pictures tonight, because if I had the fish to show you, I wouldn't be wishing for them. We're gonna leave my wife.
Do you need me?
Goodbye, wife.
Bye.
I always need you, honey. Christmas Eve, I wanted to spend it together, just the two of us and millions of people on YouTube if they choose to join us. or like 30. But no. Our family is your family. This channel is all about transparency, having a good time. As somebody said, trying not to put on a pretense. I'm not a genius. I'm not an expert. I just have liked fish off and on, but predominantly on, my whole life. And, I want to share that with people, share what I learn and my obsessive research and all that jazz. So that's the point of this channel. Let's see here. So we're gonna mix up the food again. Christmas food, yeah. Side note, I had to move the disgusting, and there's really no word for it other than disgusting. In here we have RU2s that are breeding, and this mop I'll probably clean out on video soon. And we'll see how many eggs we have for Christmas Eve, and then we'll throw them in their incubator. And then over here we have some Tetras that are all hiding in the corner over here. This was the Vinegar Eel, or the Vinegar Eel Tank. So I lowered the pH using only Vinegar Eel water and some maple leaves, and I lowered it to 4.0 at one point. And then it bloomed with bacteria, and I thought, oh no, it's going to kill everything. Well, it didn't. It rebounded. The pH is at 4.5 still, and that bacteria formed into this weird clumpy stuff on the bottom. But the catfish, I put a catfish in there, Corey, just to see if they'd eat it, and they loved it. So that's good for them. This tank, that looks like a lot of food, but we'll come check back in 1 second. I'm trying to turn slowly. In here, we've got more fish everywhere. Merry Christmas, everyone. Kids. Oh, gee, kids. Anybody name that movie? Hello, Mercantile. Hello, Bridge. Daddy. Okay, that's enough of that. All right. So they'll chow through this Daphnia like there's no tomorrow. They're like, there's no Christmas for fish, just today. Um, and watch them; they'll just swarm this thing. Plus, you have to remember this tank has 20 cories that lurk down low, and so they love when I pour the food in thick in this tank. Plus, we got 2 filters. This tank is gonna need a remodel soon because all of the Pogostemon species that I've planted have died off in here. And that's what they are supposed to do naturally. They actually break off and then they float away and they start another rooting downstream. So here is one of my favorite fish of the year, also new to the hobby. This is the multi-barred Pygmy Loach from Lake Inlay also. And this is as big as they get. I just think they're really cool looking. Some of them have stripes that come from the top and the bottom. Others have kind of this pattern where it's like bands around them as stripes. And then we've also got the long green dragons. And then we've got all the honey gouramis. They're always munching on the food first second they can. Looks like the panda cories are getting their fill, and the blood red or super red, which right now on your screen I fully realize they do not look the part, but these guys are actually a really nice red, super red, and I'm spacing Pleco. Yeah, so here they come. There's kind of this path that everybody follows. If I can zoom out, there's a pathway where nothing's planted here, and it loops up around, up onto the ledge and back, and that's where everyone kind of hangs out. And then the Shire fish, like some of the smaller super reds, are back up in here. So, and I actually excluded Plecos from my list of here's a Pleco. It's a long fin super red. He's got some spots and stuff, so he's not as high quality as I would have hoped for, but I'll still love him. So the other thing I was going to show you is that these Somfong rasboras, or Somfong rasboras were upstairs, sorry. These guys are the Maytangensis, as in the Maytang River, same spelling. But the Maytang Danios are these kind of fat, these 2 females are just ginormous. There's the male, that's what the females looked like before I was getting them ready for spawning. And then the Tin Winnie or Gold Ring Danios are the ones with the gold all over them. Here's one. There's a female right there. I've been getting them all ready to breed. And so there's another big female ready to breed. I've just been feeding them lots of live food and yeah. So let's see here. There we've got a tiger teddy. Back in here we have Brazilian pencilfish. These will not be coming out of the U.S. or coming into the U.S. again for quite some time. They're not allowed to be imported anymore. But they have a nice marking that's different from any other location. You can also tell I've made it really easy for myself just by feeding so much live food. And see, here's those multi-banded, they're so shy. Multi-banded Pygmy Loaches over there too. And here is another female rummy nose rasbora. And let's try to find, there's a nice picture of a male. So back in here, past everyone else, that's a nice male rummy nose, not tetra, but rummy nose rasbora. and they've got these cool orange fins, and there's also a nice erythromicron back there. But they've got these cool orange fins and an orange nose that is so orange. I would say the only thing that I have seen close to the vividness of it is the Agassizi or like cockatiel orange flash Apistos, something like that. And here comes my orange-eyed lemon tetras. They're always late to the party. I don't know why. And then the other cool thing in this tank is that it was planted enough that these Tinwini, or as I said, gold ring Danio babies. Of course, I can't keep up with them without making everyone sick. So the ones with the spots right here, they're having, you can see some are adults and some are babies. So they're succeeding. This guy's having a great Christmas Eve. Check that out. You think he'll be able to swallow that worm? It looks like a friggin' periscope coming out of his mouth up there. Betsy, I don't know how to move any slower than I'm moving right here. Like, this stuff, like, this is super slow movement. There's another rummy nose Rasbora here. These guys are really fun. I got these on Aquatic Arts. Just wanted to remind you guys too that Aquatic Arts has their deal with, if you haven't bought something from me, or you know, with my codes online, when you buy something with the code Secret Shrimp 10 or Secret Shrimp 15, you'll get 10 or 15% off, and then you will also be entered into a sweepstake type thing where we will be giving away $299 worth of shrimp packages, some gift cards, but we'll be giving away a shrimp starter pack for Blue Dream shrimp and everything you need to get going with a colony of, I think it's 20 of them. So the other thing that happens is from now on, 4%, if anybody uses the code Secret Shrimp or Secret History, by all means, use the best code at aquaticarts.com. Use whatever code is best for you, but make note that you came from this site, and they will take the money that you spent and enter that. They'll let me know, and they'll enter that amount back into a contest for people who have been recommended from my website. So it's a win-win for me, in that they will then send me more free fish to show you guys. Like, whatever's new, they basically can send me free, and then I get, I'm being transparent here, usually 30 or 40% off their fish. It does depend. Sometimes I pay full price, sometimes I get a free fish. But usually they'll send me, and you can see the big plecos are trying to get through here, and they're digging up all my plants, the jerks. And then we've also got the stir-by corridoras coming through. But the male gouramis are showing up their color, and that metallic, it looks black here, but it's like a silver metallic color. And the orange-nosed Rasboras, they're also doing great. Yeah, Bob, thank you for the link to Aquatic Arts, and just let them know that you came from my site. You can get 15% off, entered into the drawing, and even if you use some other code, like if they run a New Year's deal, right now they're not shipping for a week just because of how backed up all shipping is, but that will allow you to get 15% off and then entered into a drawing. And they're good peeps. They're good people. They're in Indiana. I have had like no DOAs, maybe like one or two, but they always send extra fish to people on my channel. I mean, some places do that anyways, but they've been pretty standard. If you buy 5 of something, you're going to get like 6, just so they don't have to deal with the headache of, yeah. I wanted to move quick because we got a runner here. We got a Pleco that is scared, and Sistrus that is got spooked off somehow. But so yeah, you get the feeling that I'm giving them all the presents in the world. There's another super red. These guys all started out as babies, as fish do, and now they're getting bigger. So you can see these guys aren't growing as fast in this tank, but they've got those cream tips, so they must be from my brood. Um, all right, guys. So let's get to my list. Let's get to my list about what fish, and this will go quick, but I'd like to see if you guys have a list. Just comment, or you can comment after the video or during the chat, but I'd like to see it. I'm gonna go in kind of an order of like how realistic in the next year me getting this fish would be. And you know, my Santa hat is it's not really showing up in the picture that well. I'm a little, I feel like I'm wearing this tight Santa hat that's wrecking my brain, and it's all for naught. But so let's get going. So this year the trend has been koi everything. So you're gonna see. This is just the quickest way to show you guys mass amounts of fish. So let's go with koi betta. If you guys haven't seen those, I'm just going to show you really quick. But the idea on some of these is to actually look like Japanese koi. That's where the idea started. Now it's kind of evolved into blue and just like the patterning. But the orange, the red, and the blue and gold is where it started. And now it's kind of turned into like a Jackson Pollock uh, type thing. So also in the koi world, we have koi angelfish. Those are huge this year. I'm just kind of showing you guys some trends in what people are seem to be obsessing about. We also have rams, but you get the idea. Now, the newest koi trend that I really like, there's also koi guppies, which I'm a fan of. Some of them look really cool. They look like little koi fish. Um, but one really cool thing that they have on here, let's see if we can find them, are the koi rice fish. Um, yeah, so they've been breeding rice fish so that they look like. And by the way, their family's called Madakas. So Madaka uh, is how they're known colloquially in Japan. But they're breeding them so that they look like goldfish. And there's some really cool versions of these, like rice fish now with orange, and they're actually designing them like this so that they look like koi from the top of the water. And you're going to see this trend, I bet you anything, in the next year.